Hi there, this short video is to help you reflect on the message from last Sunday, the 23rd of May. And I have 7 short questions for us. Now, this week we were looking at the sin of pride. Now, when you hear the word pride, do you think of pride as a positive thing or a negative thing? Is it possible, I wonder, that the word pride has lost its original meaning in how it is used in society today? Why don't you or one of you Google the word pride to get an understanding of what the world thinks of when it hears the word pride? Let's chat about that amongst yourselves for a moment. We're looking this week at Haman, and he really is an example of someone who is consumed with pride in his heart. And he's someone who shows us, I suppose, what happens to a person who is consumed by pride in this way. Read Esther chapter 3, verses 1 to 6. Take some time to do that. And talk amongst yourselves. Why do you think Mordecai's refusal to bow to Haman has such an effect on him? Haman is really consumed by how Mordecai has refused to bow down to him. Read as well Esther chapter 5, verses 9 to 13. Can you think of an example from your own life where maybe someone said something or did something that had an unnaturally strong effect on you, like Mordecai is having on Haman? I remember years ago when I was working in my job before I got into the role I'm in now, and someone sent me an email saying they were disappointed with the document that I wrote. And I remember being devastated by that. I think that revealed some pride in my heart as to how I was considered by other people. But I wonder, can you think from your life how the way someone treated you had an unusually strong reaction in you and in how you responded? Take a second to discuss that amongst yourselves. My fourth question, I suggested really there are 2 forms of pride. There's the superior form of pride, that's that form of pride where maybe we look down on other people and we feel superior to them. Hubris is another word that is used to describe that type of pride. But there is also, according to Tim Keller, there's a form of pride which he calls the inferior form. That is the form where I am prone to worry and be anxious about how other people see me. I don't want to disappoint people. I'm concerned people will be upset with me if I do something wrong. And so I'm very in on myself, very consumed with myself. And while it is different from the superior form of pride, I'm not going around being very boastful. I'm still very thinking about myself all of the time. When you think of those 2 forms of pride, the superior form and the inferior form of pride, do you find you identify more with one or the other? Can you talk about that amongst yourselves? Maybe that is something that is more for you to reflect on internally without actually talking about it. But I'd love it if you could talk about it amongst yourselves. Which one do you identify more with? I made the comment on Sunday that pride is responsible for much of the social ills that we see in the world today, from racism to sexism to nationalism and so on. If pride is behind a lot of these social ills and social problems, how is pride a contributing factor to them, do you think? I suggested as well on Sunday that the desires that we all have to be significant, to be approved, to be loved unconditionally by someone who we hold in very high esteem, these are God-given desires. The problem happens when I look to have other people or other things meet those needs and give me my sense of value and sense of approval. When I do that, I'm going to the wrong place. Because only when we realize how loved and valued we are by our true King, Jesus, the only one who ultimately matters, only then we will be able to rest from trying to find that approval and love elsewhere. My question, the 6th question I have for us is, what does it look like to rest in who Jesus says that we are? And how does that affect the pride in our hearts, do you think? So how do we rest in who Jesus says we are, and how does that affect pride in our hearts? My last question, we said about pride that one of the things about it is that it is a very hidden sin. It is not a sin that we can be aware of. And Keller said that it is the carbon monoxide of sins. It is deadly. It is odorless. We don't know that it's there, but it is very present and very deadly. How might you as a group help each other identify and combat the sin of pride in your lives? just as you finish, why don't you take some time as a group to pray, asking God to show you maybe where pride is an issue in your life and to help you trust him more, that we may look to other people less and look to him more. Take some time to pray for each other in that regard. Thank you. Bye.